say.
Okay, man. This is war. This is war.
I'm sure you'll agree there's some truth in what I say.
Okay, man. This is war. This is war. Okay, man. This is war. This is war.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the Art of War 414 Ojoe's Battle Blog. Today, we are going to talk about a battle that happened at Redemption. It was D. Warrant versus famousmuthafucka. Now, I've been reading a lot about what the people all thought on the Art of War 414 page. I'm sorry that I'm kind of gazing up here. I have a little bit of notes that I wrote down from the thing. I've watched it like 16 to 17 times now. And just a little bit of notes that I wrote down, alright? Yeah, they all said that it was 3 rounds to 0 in favor of famousmuthafucka. What do you think, Mike?
I think, Joe, what do I think? I think the crowd's absolutely right. I think everybody on Art of War 414 is absolutely right. You know what I mean? I mean, basically, the guy just got ass kicked, you know?
Mike, you have to understand, he definitely did a great job for the 30 to 40 second mark, alright? I liked a couple different lines he started out. He started out saying, I'm sending shots at you to leave your head gone. You said you're gonna win, I'm gonna kill you and prove you dead wrong. I mean, what did you think of that line, Mike?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Joe, but my man, famousmuthafucka, he came out with this bar, man. He said, when I spit I spit raw. Best believe I'm gonna hit everything. There won't even be a missed call. It's way harder than the beginning of what D. Warrant said. What you think about that, Joe?
You're absolutely right, Mike. You're absolutely right. But you have to give it to D. Warrant. What do you think about this part? He said, you dropped the ball. I picked it up and ran it to the end zone. Like when I took your girl, now she's in love with the D. Call that Stockholm Syndrome. Come on, Mike. What do you honestly think about that one? I mean, he tripled that up. The meaning behind that. I mean, look at that. He said, now she's in love with the D. Look at the first name of him. D. Warrant. He's in love with the D. That means D. And we all know what D means, Mike. We all know that D means what? It means dick. You know what I mean? She fell in love with the dick. And Stockholm Syndrome. I mean, he didn't get the crowd reaction that he wanted. But you have to agree, Mike. He did do that very well. And he stumbled after that. What do you honestly think of that, Mike?
Yeah, you're right, Joe. You're right. You know, he definitely hit that, and that was an out of the park bar. But you gotta understand, you know, he fell apart after that, and I think because he went so in depth with that one, I don't even know if the people caught on to that. Because, you know, I had to look that up after watching that a couple different times, you know, Joe. Basically, Stockholm Syndrome, you know, with the whole idea of what you said about the D being in his name and the D meaning, you know, dick. And then that's the double meaning. And then Stockholm Syndrome is when, you know, for those of you that don't know, it basically means, you know, when you take someone captive or you do something like that, you know, Joe, and basically they fall in love with you during that time, you know, that's what they call Stockholm Syndrome. You know, you kidnap somebody and something like that, and the person that's kidnapped falls in love with the kidnapper, you know, and that was definitely a good rhyme. But my man, famousmuthafucka, you have to say he definitely came out harder in the first round, definitely. I mean, come on. After that spit raw part in that missed call, he said, my man goes like this, dude. He says, and sent you a bit to suggest you don't get involved, cause I'll turn your puzzles into pieces, no jigsaw, and that's only the beginning, man. Then he freaking killed it, man. I mean, what do you think about that, Joe? I mean, that's freaking fantastic the way he started that. The crowd went chaotic, man, chaotic. What do you think about that, Joe?
Absolutely right, Mike. You're absolutely right, Mike. Basically, he kept it more steady. He kept the crowd interested. He had great stage presence throughout the first round. That was one of his best rounds. My favorite round for famousmuthafucka. I definitely liked him a lot better in that round than D. Warrant. You know, even though D. Warrant, you know, had some really, really good bars there, but he did fall apart. D, you know, you did fall apart. You know, D, you suck D after that. You know, first 30 seconds. You know what I mean? I used your own line against you. No, I'm just kidding, Mike. But I just know you're better than that. And famousmuthafucka kept it steady throughout the whole thing, kept me interested the whole time in that. And then he ended on a huge bar. He said, the muzzle flashed, so when I let that case shine, you disintegrate like a vampire in daytime. And then the reaction of the crowd was just fantastic. They fucking roared, and then he just walked off, man. And that was just a huge bar. First of all, I love that when somebody does that. That's like the pinnacle point of what everybody is trying to do. That shows that your timing is perfect. And you know, he just timed it perfectly, hit the bar perfectly, and did that. Now I have to give him for that. The crowd loved it, and it gives him a reminder that this guy is definitely dope. The difference between him versus D. Warrant, him meaning famous motherfucker, versus D. Warrant. D. Warrant, you just freestyled your end part, and you said something about, a famous gut, a famous butt, a famous what? And then you said something to do with the famous mutt. What is that? A bitch. And then the guy actually said time. You were going to keep going on, and that just showed me, A, you were freestyling. Obviously, you said it in your first round. And secondly, that you couldn't time out your own rounds well. And versus the two things, he timed out his round perfectly, and he ended it perfectly. And that was just that. All right? So now we're going to go on to round two, and let's kind of check out that. Mike, what did you think about round two?
Yo, Joe, obviously the second round, it was good from both people. I thought that D. Warrens, he did the exact same thing. I mean, he came out with some good stuff, but once again, he fell apart after 30 to 40 seconds. Famous motherfucker, he came out with straight fire bars, and I don't want to even give any of them up. Really, one of the main things I thought was that that motherfucker, he said something so fucking funny, which is crazy. The point I'm trying to make. He goes like this. He said he's so bootleg that he buys drugs and brings back a cash receipt. Man, that shit was so fucking funny to me. I mean, I'm not even showing how funny it was, but the crowd reacted so damn much. The good thing that dude does, Joe, is he really, really involved the crowd. You know what I mean? What do you honestly think about that, Joe?
You're absolutely right, Mike. Famous motherfucker, he left his first round with such intensity. The crowd loved it, and he came out with, equal intensity. If not equal, it was down close. You know what I mean? And he definitely, had some firebars, like you were saying, Mike. And, he really did, like you were saying, brought the crowd together. The whole 414 thing, the hometown kid, and by the way, free J Kid. That's what we have to do. Pound that people, J Kid does not deserve to be in jail, and that's just what I'm going to say on that, mate. About the famous motherfucker, though, that dude did. He banded them together, and he's really good at getting the crowd on his side. Not to mention, even if it wasn't the hometown thing, he just was able to read them and bring them in. He said about Art of War 414, he had to body him for that league, meaning that he is Art of War. So therefore, he had all the people that are involved with Art of War surrounded him and embraced him even more. What do you think about that, Mike?
You're absolutely right, Joe. You're absolutely right. Let me tell you something. You have got to get the crowd. I mean, you look at Samro and all his battles and stuff like that. That dude always tries to get in with the crowd and stuff like that. I mean, he did a whole entire song just so the crowd would react and stuff like that. I mean, if you don't have the crowd on your side, you're pretty much fucked. You in for a long, long night. And plus, it's very draining on a battler's mind. Definitely is. Case in point, every single time in these rounds, D. Warren did not get the reaction that he wanted, which we have been stating the whole entire time, Joe. Me and you have been stating that. And once again, 20 to 30 to 40 seconds in there, he kind of falls apart again. He has dope-ass combinations in the beginning. I loved how he freaking, rhymed famous motherfucker's name, and he had that little wordplay there. Why don't you recite that, Joe, for us?
I totally agree, Mike. Basically, he had a hell of a beginning in there. I love the way he played with his name. This is how he started. He was just like, yeah, your name is Famous Motherfucker? That's what you chose your name to be. Famous Motherfucker. Well, I'm gonna rename this motherfucker to Lamest Motherfucker, cause it takes one brainless motherfucker to come up with that plain shit, motherfucker. I'm just saying, motherfucker, this is like the battle of David versus Goliath, the way I slain shit, motherfucker. I'll put both hands around your neck like 2 chains, motherfucker. Compress your throat and distort your vocal cords like T-Pain, motherfucker. And I'll tell you what, Mike, that had the crowd roaring. Not too much roaring, but it was definitely dope. I fucking love that combination and that end punchline right there. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, Joe, damn, that shit was dope, man. That shit was dope. D, you were fucking dope at that beginning part. The only thing I would suggest not doing is not crutching on the shit afterwards. You know what I mean? I mean, dude, you killed it with that beginning part, And then all of a sudden, for some reason, you decided to crutch on the fucking word, you know what I mean? And it just wasn't cool after that. You were taken away from that beginning part, you know what I mean? And then you fell back on your freestyle. Joe, what did you think about him falling back on his freestyle?
You said, Mike, basically you can totally tell. I know on Facebook he was talking to Ricky John, aka Relic One. For anybody that doesn't know who Relic One is, definitely check out his battle between him and Young Ruff, and that was awesome. He's gonna be one of the top contenders in this league, definitely. Relic One, shout out to you, Mike. Yeah, I mean, he was talking to Relic One on Facebook, in one of the chats on there, on Art of War 414, and he said that famous motherfucker basically, well, actually the funny part is Relic One said that, it was a waste of gas. It was that bad of a beating, waste of gas for him to even come on out. I disagree. I thought it was very good for him to come on out. I mean, he displayed somewhat of his talents in the first 30 to 40 seconds, and it still was entertaining, at least for me as a fan. But the funny thing is he said on there that he got one over on him, and basically, he was referring to, obviously, famous motherfucker, but he said that he was more fluent with his freestyle and his writtens, and most of the time you could not tell. Well, Mike, this is definitely one of the cases that you can totally tell. A, he stated it in his first round, like we've been saying, and B, why don't you tell him B?
Well, Joe, I would say B is because, he was crutching so much, like we've been saying, anytime in battles, a lot of, not any time, I'll say a lot of times that people are crutching, it's because their mind is trying to figure out a way to get to their next written portion, and that's just what happened here. Especially, I noticed it, and I know that, on that thing, you said that, you're fluent, and, most of the time you can't even tell, but that wasn't the case in this scenario. Plus, in here, you said something to this effect. You said, I'm just saying, motherfucker, I'm insane, motherfucker, a deranged motherfucker, out of my right mind, so I'm thinking with my left brain, motherfucker. And Joe, show him where that's really from.
My left like I'm Einstein, thinking with my left brain, cause I'm on my right mind.
That's right, that was an analyst saying. The only thing you did different, Mike, is you switched up the wording just a little bit, and you can tell that you did it in a freestyle manner because you probably didn't even know you were doing it, or you did, and you just flipped up the words just a little bit and then added the crutch word. You know what I mean? So, that's just how that went. Joe, what did you honestly think about that?
Nah, you can't do that, man. I mean, I suppose you can. I mean, if you look at round 2 for famous motherfucker, he did kind of not the same thing, not too drastic for that. Not too many people would have known that. I mean, maybe 5 million people that actually watch, analysts of triple threat, 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 record, analysts of triple threat. But anybody that's seen that would have, known that, because that's the one that always pops out for me. The other one that kind of got me was famous motherfucker. He was clowning on the dude in the second round. And in third, but we'll get to that. But then he stopped and he said, look, he mad right now. And that's exactly how Pat Stay does his stuff. It's that Pat Stay goes into, his little scheme that he does every single time where the crowd loves it. And the different thing is that he switched it up after that, He didn't take the whole entire scheme from it. He didn't take the whole entire line from it and do like a bar with it. You know what I mean? He just said the actual statement, and then he went on with it like that. So, D, you gotta watch out for that. I mean, naturally, most people might not know that. I mean, anybody that's not a fan of analysts wouldn't know that. But, I just knew you freestyling there because right there, it was like, wait a minute, I heard that somewhere, So, gotta watch out for that. That's all I'd say. And famous motherfucker, I thought you were gonna go with the Pat Stay route. And I was just like, come on, man. Don't give me the Pat Stay route. You're better than that. You're better than that. And then you went a different route and you had me dying the rest of the time. So, Joe, let's get to round 3. How about it, man?
Alright, let's break it down, mate. I'm totally cool with that, Mike. Alright, basically, D. Warrants in the third round, he had one rebuttal in there. I saw that. I really like rebuttals. That's where the freestyle game definitely picked up for him. But then he came on in and he said something to the effect of, you're getting all the laughs because this is your line, and that, meaning like this is your territory, and then if we were in my territory, I would get all my laughs. I don't understand that, you know. I mean, it's either you're good or you're not. You don't see Arsenal, like, whining about that. I suppose you do on, like, blogs and stuff like that, but he revels in the idea of being in another person's land. He'll be like, once again, I'm on another person's stage, and another person says, and he just loves that idea of being the underdog, you know what I mean? What do you think about that, Mike?
Man, you just can't be doing that, man, because, you know, like Joe said, you know, Arsenal always goes in there and he revels in that idea. You either have the bars or you don't, you know. It doesn't matter what the crowd does, even though you want the crowd on your side and stuff like that. But definitely can't go that route. I wouldn't have chose that route. I'm not a battler either, though, you know, but hey, you know, do what you do, I suppose. But, you know, it kind of takes away from all of your flow, you know, like you're either mad good or you're mad not, you know? And it just was like, come on, man. You're just kind of bagging down the idea that you're in a different territory. And I don't give a shit if you're in a different territory. I know you're good. I know you can do that stuff. You just fell apart after a certain amount of time, each and every round. Case in point, you come on in there and then you fell apart after right away in the third round, you know? You said some kind of shit about famous motherfucker's shoes being shitty, and then you said he has a $1 t-shirt and $5 pants, and you said altogether it's worth about 25 cents. What? You know, like, I mean, I'm not trying to rip on you, but mathematically that doesn't even make sense. I mean, unless that's what you were trying to say, it doesn't make sense. I didn't follow at all. You know what I mean? And there was one part in there that was funny, but it wasn't lyrical. It was just funny because you said it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know if the crowd was laughing at you or laughing with you, and that's no diss at all. It's something funny. You said something to do with, I'll put a ski mask on, and then, you know, fucking do something, run up to your bitch, do a He-Man, and then Thundercat that bitch. And the crowd kind of laughed at that because you said Thundercat that bitch. I laughed at it because I never heard that expression before, and it was pretty fucking funny. Joe, what did you think of round 3 for Famous Muthafucka?
First of all, Famous Muthafucka came on out there and he stated that I didn't even write a round 3. A, that shows that he's cocky and he automatically thought he was going to win. B, he did win all 3 rounds. C, his freestyle was more fluent than D. Warrant's, and it just was funnier, you know? He had more angles throughout the whole entire thing. He came with funny. He came with gun bars. He came with, you know, crowd boosting bars, you know? He had 1 slip-up or 2 slip-ups in the last round, and that's expected, you know? I suppose that's not expected, but, you know, in a freestyle, you're gonna mess up a little bit, and you couldn't even really tell. It's a funny thing. You couldn't even tell. Where D. Warrants, you totally could tell. D. Warrants, you're a very good rapper. I cannot wait to see you in the next up and coming, you know, against Samro when you're gonna face him. All right, Famous Muthafucka. I have no idea who you face next, but I am definitely watching that. I suggest everybody watch that. All right. Don't take anything that I say personal, guys. I'm just a fan. All right, and I'm just saying what I saw. All right. I humbly thank the 2 participants that were in here, humbly, and I thank you for having the guts to get in front of a crowd and do what you do, you know, write your bars and go on out there, and the Warrants coming 133 miles, it wasn't a waste of gas. Relic, no. It wasn't a waste of gas. Why? Because he still did it, you know, and he didn't choke, alright, so it wasn't a waste of gas. Second of all, you know, I liked the battle overall. You know, and I just want to say, you know, this is just this guy's opinion. So once again, I'm going to sign off. Yours truly, Ojoe, true fan. And please tune in next time. If you like this, like it and share it. And thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Hit the music.
Okay, man. This is war. This is war.
What if there is no tomorrow? Tell everyone today.
Okay, man. This is war. This is war.
I'm sure you'll agree there's some truth in what I say.
Okay, man. This is war. This is war. Okay, man. This is war. This is war. War.